Hi, I'm Juan Rivera. I have over 20 years of residential and commercial construction experience. I'm the owner of Renaissance Development Group, Inc., a full-service construction company. I know remodeling. Each week, I'll bring to you the tricks, tips, and trends of home improvement. We'll talk to local contractors and industry experts about the latest new trends for your home and remodeling projects. Join us for the next 30 minutes on Remodeling Now. Remodeling Now brought to you by Pepsi-Cola and LaPlace USA Interiors. Good morning, Darryl. How are you, bud?
Good, how you doing, Juan?
Doing good. I see you've got some of our parts and pieces out for our sashes and whatnot.
Yes, we have the pieces out that we had from some other windows that we had used, and we're just going to use these to make some templates and duplicate them. Fantastic.
What we're going to be doing here on this episode of Remodeling Now is we're going to take and we're going to be replicating an old historical window. We've already done this on one project and actually a couple of projects, and I've been contacted by another potential client to go ahead and build 20 more of these units. So we're going to step over here and take a look at these. This unit here, Daryl's already put one together as a prototype so we can show our client to make sure that they're satisfied with it. So Daryl, why don't you explain what we've got here?
Well, we've got two sashes, and then we've got a frame. We have a rail on here. And on a window like this, because we have to lock these in, it's not a standard type of window, we have to put a subframe on, and then we put our exterior trim on, and what it does is it locks everything together on this.
Okay, it looks pretty simple at a glance, but there's a lot of work that goes involved in this.
There is extensive work in these.
Okay, to do one unit, we probably have what, about 20 hours into it?
Approximately, yes.
Okay, and of course the first one always takes more because that's where you do your quote-unquote your R&D, which is your research and development. Of course, we're not a big corporation like that, but nonetheless, we go through the same process as a large corporation would.
Yes, there's a lot of setup time on this.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to step back on over here, and we've got a sash. That's an individual sash that we're going to show our viewers here, and we're going to show them all the different parts and pieces that make this sash up, and how we're going to duplicate them and make them for this window here.
Sounds good.
Okay, so now what we've got here is we've got our stile or our centerpiece, which goes right here, and as you can see, this ends are got a tenon and mortise set up at the end, so that way whenever the top rail, on this particular case, I don't know if we can see it from here. No, you guys only did a half mortise on this, didn't you?
Yeah, we didn't plow all the way through on it.
Okay, so this has a half mortise, meaning what it is the mortise only goes in halfway, and then the piece at the end here that's got this, actually here's a better one because it's longer, this would slide in and only go in halfway, so you don't see it come out the top.
Exactly. I think it's stronger that way too.
Plus it gives a cleaner look because at the end here you don't see anything. And at the bottom you have the same thing. Let's stand this straight up. At the bottom it's the same thing. They plow this down a little bit, so when they put this in, it will stay in and hold it in place, and that keeps this from moving back and forth.
Gives it a lot of stability.
Correct. And then we have our side rails, which allow for a mortise cut, and we'll show our viewers how we come up with our mortise cuts, okay, and our tenons that go in there. And then, of course, our top piece is probably the most unique of all of them because it's a little bit different.
Yes, it is. It has.
Why is that?
Well, it has a 5-degree bevel on it, and what that does is when you have your top and your bottom rail together, when these slide and join up together, they're opposite bevels on it, and what it does is it creates a wind seal on it and a weather seal where they join together.
And that locks them in place.
It does.
So they don't move either.
Exactly.
And we can better demonstrate that by showing that on this window unit over here. So what happens is if we lift this up here, you can see the bevel that Daryl's talking about here. There's also one on the back side. So as this drops down in place, it locks in and then it's sealed. And of course, it'd be a latch lock that goes here, correct?
Yes. There's a catch latch that will lock the two windows together.
Okay. And of course, the window goes inside this channel that's provided for it here, and that would be glazed, and we'll show how that's done on a later episode. But what we want to do now is go ahead and get set up and show our viewers how we get this done.
Sounds good.
Now we're on the back side of our workshop, and Daryl's over here with our mortise machine, and he's changing out the blade and getting it set so we can go ahead and do our mortising in the pieces of wood that we're talking about. And what I wanted to show you folks is what the bit looks like. And what it is, it's a regular bit that looks like a bit that you would drill holes in for wood, and it plows through it and rips it out. And then we have a square unit that our housing that the bit slides in. This has very sharp edges, so as the bit is drilling and going through, the square edges cut out and rip out the sides that are left from the bit that it doesn't get on the corners, and that's how we get a square cut inside these small areas. All right, so now we've taken this, and as you can see here, he's cleaned the holes out with that piece of equipment. So now the 10 will slide straight in, and that's how it locks in place. We put glue on that, and it will never come out. Of course, we also put a couple of brads and some screws and to keep it square while it's setting up. But the glue does all the work. So now that we've got this done, let's go to the next step.
Right.
All right, so Daryl, our next process to making our sash is using this piece of equipment here. And what is this?
It's a bench joiner. And what it does is it can create different angles. Basically, it's a small planer, but you can adjust angles on it, which you can't on like a surface planer. We can create a degree on this in order to put that bevel that we have on the back side of this to
which is on this piece,
together.
okay.
Yes, it is.
And in this case, it's a 5-degree bevel, correct?
Yes.
So now, the simple way to do it is to put it on like this, and this is the fence that is adjustable, correct?
Yeah, it rolls on it.
Okay, so now we can just put this on here and make it real simple. But if we didn't, then we'd use a protractor or something like that to get whatever degree or angle that we want to get this fence set the way we'd like it, and then we'd run it through, right?
Yeah, you put your protractor on here, and on your needle it will give you your gauge, tell you exactly where you get your degree.
Okay, so now we've already got it set to the proper angle?
Yes.
Okay, let's see how it works.
Okay.
Okay, so now this gives us a nice smooth finished cut.
It's finished cut.
Wow, that's almost like sanded smooth.
It's like glass.
Now, I know she had to run this through a couple times. Being pine's rather hard wood.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now when we look down this, and if you look down that, you can see the angle that we've got, and that gives us our 5-degree with a finished product ready to go.
Exactly, and what you have to do is sometimes based on what the angle is you're putting on it, you're gonna have to do several passes in order to achieve from your low point to your high point on it.
And again, that would determine on the density of the wood.
Exactly.
Because like oak is an extremely dense wood, so it would be much more difficult than even pine.
Take smaller passes, you know, keep your depth up.
Okay, so kind of like a router too. Sometimes you can't get it all on the first run. So you got to go through once, maybe twice, sometimes even 3, depending on the wood.
Exactly. That's
okay.
How you want to do it.
Okay, good. Now let's go to the next step. Welcome back. If you just joined us, we are going over all the different components that we need to make up the sashes for the windows, and now we've already got all those completed, and they're all assembled here, and now we're going to put this window together. So, Daryl, what we got here?
Well, we got our 2 side rails, we've got our mullion in the middle, we've got our top and the bottom, they're all mortise, tenon.
Okay.
And we're ready for assembly.
Okay, so let's not glue this, let's just go do a dry fit.
Okay.
That way we'll show our viewers what it looks like, and then we'll grab another sash that's already done, and that way they can see it.
All right.
Okay. Let's do the same thing. Let's get it in our corner here.
Mm-hmm. Get your mullion in it there.
Okay. Let me go ahead and smack this a little right here. Okay, I'm in there. Now, obviously, whenever we do things like this, we have it staged, so to speak, so that way we can make it more interesting for you, the viewer, to understand what we're trying to do. Nothing goes this smoothly and nothing goes this easily.
Absolutely not.
It takes a lot of work to get to this stage, but we just want to make sure that we're able to show you with a limited amount of time that we've got all the different aspects of what this turns out to be. So once you grab that sash behind us, so now once we get this all put together, this is what the sash looks like, and then we go through and of course we primer it, get all done, and then also there's another cut that we had not discussed with you guys earlier, which this is a cut on the side, and this is a trough that we put, and this is so the weight for the window, because a string will be knotted and screwed into here, and then a line will go up over to a pulley system, and there's a weight that hangs down, and as you slide the window up, the weight goes up and down like that. So that was the only other part that we had not gone over, but this is what it looks like when it's done. So we have a finished product that you can see from the inside in terms of your OG, and then from the outside, this is the area where the glass would go in whenever it's time to be glazed, and we'll discuss the glazing at some point in time on another show. All right, so now that we've got this, we're pretty much done. Now we can go ahead, and we've already got the side rails or the frames made, or in this case the jambs for the windows, already completed, and now we're going to assemble everything. Okay, now that we've got the sashes made, which is one of the more difficult parts of the window, now we're going to make the frame or the jamb for it. And Daryl's already got everything pre-cut and pre-made. And Daryl, you want to explain what we've got here?
Sure, we've got our two sides of the frames, and we've got our window stop, which is on these two pieces right here. These are our rail stops right here, which are for the mortising right here, where it's leaded in. That goes in this. And this is our sub frame right here. And we have our headstock, and here's our exterior sill.
Okay, let's go ahead and get this part put together, and then we'll explain the next steps.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, with the assistance of Larry's going to be helping Daryl hold all these sides and pieces together and getting them lined up, so that way we can do what we got to do here. Now, Daryl, you want to explain what you're doing as you're doing this?
Sure. What we have here is we have where we let it in for the headstock to go into the sides, and we fit them together, we flush them out at the top, and what we do is we countersink through the back with a pilot bit, and then we use treated screws so that we don't have any rusting or any corrosion with them.
Okay, that's one side down. Now you go to the other side and take care of that. Now, this is the sill that we're going to be sticking in now.
Yes, it is.
And that goes like this, correct?
Yes, it does.
You guys want to slide this back this way a little bit?
Please. There we go. All right, now on this, we have to gap this up 3/4 of an inch for our subframe. So let's get our piece of subrail, a piece of subrail, and we can use that as a gauge. Pick up on that, Larry. And pick that side up close to even. That's good.
How about your spacing? Did you have to put a space around that one?
No, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to draw these screws all the way in until we put our back on.
Okay, Daryl, and then our next step after you get that last screw in is to...
We're going to put our subframe on so that we can get our first window, our first sash installed.
Okay.
Today's tip, always use primer on wood windows. Without it, the wood will suck the oils out of the wood putty and turn it brittle prematurely.
Today's tip provided by Olympic Paint. Get inspired. Explore the color, beauty, and tradition of Olympic Paint.
Okay, you've already got a mark over here. Now we're going to mark this. What we're going to do is we're going to gap this 3/8 of an inch. And the reason why we're doing that is because when Daryl gets ready to put this other rail in that he was talking to you about before, it also sticks out about the same distance, and that is what the window actually glides in, and those are the front and back of it to keep the window from falling out. So here we've got a mark at 3/8 over here, which is what Daryl's already done for us, and we're ready to nail this, correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And if you want to pin this bottom, we can work it the rest of the way.
Okay.
That's good right there, Warren. Good.
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 And that should be the same there. Now, in case you're wondering why we've got this slot right here, this is so whenever the window is completely put together, this fits in here like that. And what that allows is at a later date, if the weight or something happens with the string or with the weight, it needs to be changed, the knot came loose or whatever, you're able to unscrew this panel here, and the panel slides out, and then you can reach in and grab the weight and do what you need to do. Okay, Daryl, you ready to get this side here?
Yes. Good. Good.
We got a nail over here we need to get.
That's good.
Whenever you are building things from time to time, you run across where a nail has gone through and it bends. These are pneumatic nails. They're hard, but yet they're still soft. There's another one right at the top over there. See it over there? Let's go ahead and make sure we get that. And if you miss these and you run your fingers across them, woo, does that hurt? And we don't want that, do we, Daryl?
No, we don't.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Roll it right over.
Okay, now that we got our sub trim on, Daryl's going to insert that's our bottom piece?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then from that goes on the middle railing, correct?
Yes, it does.
All right. You want to put your header piece in first?
Yes, I'll put that in before the next one.
There you go.
Thank you.
Now on the sub railing, as you can see here, Daryl's got a piece he's putting in at the top, and of course he'll need to put that in first before we get the other piece in. It's a very tight fit. This is all made. We didn't buy any of this. All this is manufactured here at our shop with the tools that we have.
Please.
And sometimes it's difficult. Wood twists, especially white pine, things of that nature. Here you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. And now we're going to brad those in, Daryl?
Yes, we can brad those in.
Now, while you're shooting that in, I want to show our viewers that the reason why we have to be careful what we're doing is at the end of this has what we call a bevel cut on it. And that means it's at an angle. And the reason why we do that is because where Daryl's nailing right now, you see that this is sloped backwards. So we have to make sure that we have the right pieces in place whenever we're doing them. Well, with this, we don't need any glue with this, do we?
No, very tight.
That's good. Okay, and then our next step for this would be to go ahead and get our next sash ready.
Yes.
Okay, now that we've got the sash in, Daryl's going to go ahead and secure this one in place. Okay, now you want to, do we have brad nails on this side over here?
I'm going to brad that nail
Let's
on
go ahead
in.
and brad those in right there. And then we're able to install our second sash, which should line up directly across from this if we've done everything correctly. So now, all right, now we're going to install our second sash right there. Everything looks like it lines up pretty well there, and we are good to go. Excellent. Okay. Now, our next step is to...
Need to install our window stop.
Okay. Here's the header piece.
Thank you.
Now, installing stop on this is a little different than doing it normally. The reason why is because the angle that is created on this, if you look here at this line, we've got a line right over here. And whenever this window is in its closed position, there's a line right here, and this is exactly across from it. When the window is pushed forward, like you're going to slide it up, it drops down because of our 5-degree angle that we have on the two windows that are locking each in place. So that's how that works. So we want to make sure that we follow the contour with this trim. So we have to do this in a little different fashion. Daryl, you want to explain how we do that?
Sure. What we do is we start down at the bottom down here and we work it up. We use a little gauge to give it a little room for paint and for expansion and contraction when it's all secured in.
Okay, there's that side for that. And what are you using as your gauge?
We have a little thin stop that we're using for it, or we can use a little piece of cardboard, it's fine too.
Okay, now what we've got here, so we can show our viewers, we just use something that's very thin. It's probably just a few mil thin, but it's enough by the time you add paint to it that the door will be able to slide okay without a buildup and being stuck by having too much paint. So we lift this up right here and we set that flush, and then we nail this as we go along. So he'll nail it right here and right there. And then he'll slide it about a foot, and then he'll nail 2 more times after he leaves that. There we go. And then he'll repeat the same process at the top there. 2 more shots there. And then what we do is then we come to the opposite side over here, and then we do the same thing over here, because that way we're not back and forth on it, so we can make sure we lift that and go. Okay, we got that good. And then we get at the top here. All right, now that we've got that done, see, now this slides with no problem, like we were trying to explain to you guys. And you can see the gap that creates right there when our insert, and then when we slide the window, the gap comes down. And that's what we want to make sure that we have enough room that we leave that. So now we'll slide this window all the way forward in its open position. And then now we will take, Joe, you want to go do it on that side there first? Now we'll take the trim and then we will push it down accordingly. And then now he will shoot it at that point there.
Stay tuned for next week's episode as we show you how we complete this window unit by installing the interior sill and interior trim.